In this episode, we will do, there's three main steps in making this quilted vest. First is the planning, which is very exciting. Then the piecing of the outer shell, the quilting and layering of the three pieces of fabric to make a quilt, and then the finishing. And yeah, that's what we're going to have a look at now. I've started to audition the greens for my Kyoto vest. I want to make it in the one piece, and these are all my greens. I want to make them in a piece of fabric for the outer shell in 2.5-inch strips of greens and a few other colours. These are the ones that I've chosen so far. I'm just seeing how they will all go together. I have a big piece of the fabric with the roses on it, and I have a big piece of the botanical with snakes and butterflies and things. So I will have to join the strips together to make one piece of fabric big enough for the vest outer edge. And these are all quilting cottons. I really love this, the greens in this one. That's a caravan themed one, remember those? And I don't mind some yellow and pinks in it too. I would like to have that fabric in it. I do love these greens. I think it came as doors also, but, and then some Jane Sassaman with big floral. And this one has a sort of an Indian vibe going to us, so beautiful and subtle, the pinks and greens. So that's what I'm thinking about today. You can see I have a lot of leftovers from quilts. That one is cut for the size of a binding, I would say. Not a binding, the border. Remember my Jacob's Ladder green quilt with the tigers around the edge? There's the trees. But yeah, I might add a few more or take some out, but I really like this selection, so we'll see how we go. I think I might need a few more greens or browns or, in betweens. These are the fabrics I have to start with, and I'm cutting out the 2.5-inch strips this morning, and then I will line them up and see how I like them together. So my plan for now is to continue cutting the strips and trying to find some more greens. I'm now string piecing all the 2.5-inch strips together. I think I'll do a sort of a gradient, but I'm not sure. So this is the best I can do at random. So the darker ones I'm sewing first into lots of 5s, I think. Then I'll press them and have a look and see what colours are going together. Not colours exactly, but what density of colours, let's say, in the fabric. So if there's too much dark in one spot or too much light, or if I need to go in a different direction. And as I'm sewing, I'm thinking, can I keep to the stripes, just having a striped vest, or will I cut it up and make a pattern? I hope I will keep to the original plan, but we never know, do we? So more sewing and we'll see how this turns out. This is how far I've gotten so far in about 2 hours, and it's a hard decision of what what to leave in and what to take out, editing, with a limited number of colours and hues and degrees of saturation and such. So I pick on what I just like and hope for the best, really. So I've taken out most of the blue. I had some beautiful blues, but they just weren't going with the browny greens that I've got here. And I'm hoping that this will look okay when it's done. Well, look really good when it's done. This one here is beautiful in the flesh, but seems to stick out a lot when I'm looking at it through my phone. I'm going to leave it in. And as I'm doing a short version of the Kyoto Vest, I won't need this length of made up fabric. So I'm hoping to cut some of it off to the required length and maybe put it on the side. I'm not sure how it's all going to go, but this is how far we've gotten so far. And I might just carry on looking at fabrics today, what I've got there, and ironing it. I think we'll have to tune in next week for progress. And it's going to take me a couple of weeks, I think, because after I've ironed it, I need to put the flannel backing and batting and a back on it, which I'm thinking I'm going to go with some butterfly fabric that I love. I really do love it. This is a linen type fabric, and there is also this thicker type fabric which might give it some more body as a vest, but not sure about that. And I was hoping to make a dress out of this, but I'm thinking there's a few too many really good illustrations there. So maybe the reverse side of the quilted vest for this one. And these are my fabrics. How would you go about it? I'm not really good at random. Judith is really good at it, but I don't think I'm that good at it. I mean, random is not me, is it? I wish it was a bit more, but this is about as random as I can possibly go and think. Oh yeah, they are beautiful fabrics. So join me soon, next week, for the continuation of the Quilted Vest. This morning I'm going to iron the fabric that I've made from the strips, 2.5 inch strips. I need it flat so that I can see how much more I have to make, because this is exactly the right amount for half of the vest. And I have a new ironing board. The other one just fell to bits. The ratchet underneath has been modified now, and hopefully it will work a bit longer, but I've got a thing with the ironing boards and they seem to wear out really quickly, so I'm hoping this one will be good. So now to iron the bigger piece that I have, and we'll see how that goes. The fabric that I made is mainly with the fabric, but I do have some pieces that I had to piece together to get the right, well, to get a length that I liked and was usable. So I was lucky enough to have with the fabric of most of my fabrics, even though they're little bits. I like to, when I cut out my hexagons and things from a piece of fabric, I like to have them, I like to cut it out mainly on with the fabric so that I have a big section. Well, not a big section, but you know what I mean. across the top of with the fabric so I can use it in another project if I have to. Now to iron. I still have my trusty old iron, and I'm going to press all the seams one way, hopefully, but I'm thinking this one will probably go that way. It's tricky, isn't it? Everything I do is tricky, but I need to have the flat fabric today. I've now ironed the strips and they're all nice and flat. These are the main, well, these are the colors that I'm using together, mainly greens. I like how it is, and this is half of the vest pattern, so I'll put it on it and I'll show you how it looks. This is half of the vest, so I need to make the other half, and I have fabric left over that I will probably unpull and attach to the fold side, that side, this side, to make a big piece of fabric and the whole of the front of the vest. So the next step is to finish piecing the strips together, cutting out the, not right to the actual size of the vest, but leaving about an inch, I would say, all around to allow for the quilting. Same with the batting, which I'm using a flannel piece, and the back. Then I'll pin them together as I would a quilt. So this is going to take me a while. I will finish making a piece of fabric. I think I'm going to have to find some other fabric, other greens. I just have to have a look for them and see how we go with that. John's helping me cut out the pattern part of the vest, so half of it to start with, because I need to cut some off the top or the bottom and attach it to the side so that I've got the rest of the half. So this is the half as we have it now. And this will be the top of the quilt. I'm going to have the join here, so just want to, John has cut it like that at the bottom because I'm going to join the rest of the fabrics to this side, and that'll be the whole top. I don't want to waste my fabrics. Won't be wasted really because they're 2.5 inch strips and I can use them for something else, but I do want to use basically the same color range that I have in the vest for the vest, and then the lining can be a plain, I'm thinking, not plain, but you know what I mean, a patterned one whole piece. It's amazing how this shape makes a whole vest. I'm always amazed at it. So when he's finished cutting that out, I'm going to attach the other half of the strips. I've got a whole lot here done already, and then the whole top will be cut out and I'll show you then. More ironing of strips. I'll have a nice flat fabric now. So this is the next half of the vest, so the whole thing will be cut out then, the whole top. Yep. Great. So laying this out as I would a quilt, I've got my weights to hold everything firm. Going to just flatten the back out. This has a directional on it, but I'm not worried about the directional. So I'm thinking I'll have it sideways. I'll have my butterflies flying sideways, I'm thinking, because I don't want to join in it. And there's only about 1.5 meters, I would say, of this fabric, maybe 2. It is beautiful. Put the weights on it to hold all the folds out. We don't want puckers on the inside. I think I'll lay it up this way with the straight edge so that I can gauge what I'm doing, how the pattern fits on top. And I'll put the weights down again. They're very loud. Got 6 of them. All flat. And now the vest top for the quilt. It's beautiful. Just wondering, it won't go up and down, so I will have it this way. I'll probably move it around a little bit, but not very much after I've got it laid out on the flannel. So I just had a look, and it's not going to be long enough. So what I'm going to do is make a join in the backing, and the butterflies will be flying up the right way. I didn't do that part. So I've decided, because the piece underneath the lining is big enough for the quilt, it was the batting that I was worried about. And I've moved the top of the quilt around so that it will fit much better, and I won't have to do any major sewing to readjust the backing and everything. So I'm going to cut it out now, and so I'm going to cut the 2 layers together, and then we'll see what happens. So I'm using my trusty little Matilda scissors. I love them. I'm just going to cut it about 1/4 of an inch bigger. There won't be much shrinkage because the flannel is a cotton flannel and it's basically the same size as the quilt top when it's finished. So you know what I mean, not too much shrinkage. So I'm just going to cut it roughly. When I say roughly, I'm going to leave a little just until I have it quilted, let's say. Now cutting around the edge of the bottom of the vest. And so I'll keep cutting and then I'll show how it looks all cut out. I now have all 3 pieces cut out and it's ready to pin up. I've left the armholes like that because I'll trim that when I've finished quilting it. So I'm ready to pin up now with my curved safety pins. I love this stage. I have my quilting toolbox here ready to go. And all my safety pins, there's about 5,000 safety pins in this. Tease them out. I'm ready to pin. I like to leave my pins open, ready to go. So I'm just going to pin around the edge first. And I want to pin it really closely to the edge of the top fabric. Then I'll sew around it with the machine and it'll be ready for quilting. And you know, I think I might take it over and machine quilt it. At Judith, I haven't made up my mind exactly yet how I'll quilt it. But when all the layers are together, it's so great to have this step done. I have used flannel before as a batting, and I really like it, especially for a garment. I think it's great for even sewing on your domestic sewing machine. I have tried sewing on the domestic sewing machine, but there was a few meltdowns, let's say. So much better with hand quilting and machine quilting on the Sweet 16. And when I finished going all around the edge with the pins, I'll pin all over the surface of the quilt just to keep it all in place. And really, you know, this is a fun way to make a garment, isn't it? Oh, I just love it. I'll be wearing a quilt. I'll just do this piece of the top of the back, and I'll show you how closely I pin. You can see I'm resting on John's jigsaw puzzle board, mainly because I haven't got a big table and I live in a smallish flat. So let me take you around and show you the pins. So you can see I've pinned pretty closely together and around the edge where I'm going to sew first. So it'll take me about an hour, I think, to pin it, because I want more pins than I usually pin in a quilt, a small quilt. Only just to be safe, you know, because there's so many seams. I don't want them to come unpulled or anything. And yeah, just want to be safe. So that's how it's looking at the moment. I'm so eager. I am so eager when it gets to this stage, friends, and I just want to go so fast, but it's not a fast thing, is it? And my justification of going fast, well, I can't go fast really, but faster than usual, is because I know that I'm going to be worn out tomorrow, and I want to get as much done in a short amount of time as possible to the finished part of the exercise, let's say, as I can be. And yeah, I just go full steam. But full steam for me is not full steam for everyone, I got to tell you. My full steam could be half steam for my daughter, who can do things so much faster than I can now. But it's not all about that, is it? It's not about speed. It's not even about speed with me. It's about getting as much done as I can in a shorter amount of time and having the next day off. That's how it is with me. Yeah, it's all or nothing. I don't like to leave things half done or things like that. It's different with a big project that I know is going to take me years, like the English paper piecing, but with other things, even dressmaking, I don't like to leave it, you know, half done. I like to be able to have things done completely, basically. And it doesn't matter how worn out I get in that time, because I know I will have to recover. So I'll go on now and finish pinning. Now we've had that short discussion about time management. So I finished pinning the 3 layers together. There's about 500 pins here. Pinned all around the edge. And now we can turn it over. See all the butterflies. There we go. And now I'm going to sew around the edge, but I have to leave space for the shoulder, to join the shoulders together, and there's a dart here. So I'll probably go around the edge first, sew the dart, and then do the quilting. And that's how it's going to look, basically. There's the armholes. So we'll continue on. So here is my quilt vest, hang over the back of the couch, ready for me to hand quilt. I've decided I'm going to hand quilt it. And then figure out how to do the collar, because the collar is with those jigsaw puzzle pieces there. When I join the shoulders together, I'm going to also use the binding that I'm putting around the edge, the 2.5 inch strips for binding. Also on the top of the shoulders inside, because I want it to be somewhat reversible, seeing I've got the beautiful butterflies. But this is progress so far. It's Friday. And yeah, it will take me a couple of weeks, I think, to hand quilt it. I'm going to make a separate video about the process and the wearing of said vest. So that will be something to look forward to this week. Yes. So a separate video on vest making, quilted vest making. I have John's puzzle table set up. It's lower. He's got it set lower for me, and I'm going to hand quilt the vest on this table so I can sit on a comfy chair and quilt. I don't usually do it like this, but I want the whole top to be visible, sort of, when I'm doing it. I mean, I will scrunch, but you know. So I've got my equipment ready, my pins. I've got 2 needles threaded up. I've got my 2 cottons that I'm going to use. They are beautiful Valdanis, variegated. They're just beautiful, aren't they? They're the 2 that I'm going to use. I think I'll start in the back. I've got my tripod set up so that I can take you along with me. I imagine this will take me a fair while to hand quilt, at least a week. And then I have to put the binding on, and so the shoulder seams together. I'm not sure if it has shoulder seams. I think the long sides form a collar, but I'll tell you more about that when I get to it. So, going to start with the quilting. I hope you enjoy this quilt along with me. I also hope that it will enthuse you to make your own outer type garments, like a vest or a jacket, you know, that's hand quilted by you, and you pick the fabrics and everything, and then when you wear it, it's just a big hug, you know, from all your handwork. Now I'm going to start. I have to go out first, but when I come back, maybe this afternoon, I will start quilting. I'm now sewing around the edge, all the edges, except for the part where the collar will be attached to itself. So all around the edge. Quarter of an inch in. I've sewn all around the edge, quarter of an inch in, the armholes, the neck, the other armhole, and around the edge. I'll trim it when I've finished quilting, I think. This will be the first time I've ever quilted something before putting the finishing binding on. But this is how it's going. So happy. I'm glad that the pins are out of the edge. Still a couple of hundred in, but the table is making the weight less on my hands, so all is good there. More quilting. Oh, I have started the hand quilting, and it's big stitch. So you can see I've quilted a couple of pieces. I'll show you the back. Big stitches. Lovely. Now I'm going to show the vest. But I'm up to. I've got it laid out here. This is the thread that I decided to use. I decided to use just one. And it's my Valdani 100 meters. The color is M19. Pearl cotton, made in Romania. The color is beautiful, and it goes really nicely with all these greens. And I was reading something the other day about Epicurious and how it applies to quilting, friends. Can you believe it? It's so interesting. And Epicurious said that a work has to be, doesn't have to be, but to make it pleasurable, it is balanced and harmonious. I think the colors are balanced and harmonious. And the process of making this vest or any quilt that I do, this is for me, is meditative and careful. And I do enjoy making quilts. I love making quilts, and I enjoy the process, and I like the finished end, and I think that just summarizes the quilting process. So let's get on with having a look at the stitches. I love my little scissors. Aren't they fab? And I have loaded up 2 needles. I'll put one here in the chair. You'd think I'd use a pin cushion, but no. And I have another one loaded up ready to go. Take these off, and we'll do a row. Let me see if I can get you a bit closer. I hope the pins don't make too much of a noise, but I want to get the body of the quilting balanced. I've got my right hand under the main part, and I'm just going to go up here to the sleeve, to the armhole. But first I have to find where to start, because my quilting is melting into the fabric. We're going to do this long part here, so I've got the quilt between my thumb and my 4 fingers in here. Going to take, you can see I've already gone around the edge with the sewing machine, and 1/4 inch in. I should have made a knot in the end of that, but I haven't, so I'll do a couple of I'll do a back stitch so that it's very secure. I haven't decided on the binding yet to do with this. I don't think I'll do black. I think I might do something else. You can see I've loaded up my needle with a few stitches. And from now on it is plain sailing, because I've got pins in everywhere. So nothing moves. And that's a good thing about having this table of John's, because you can adjust the height level, and so I can lean on it too. I hope this is okay for my posture, but it's very comfortable. So I mainly just take, I imagine it's 4 stitches, so we go down, up, down, up. You can feel the needle with my forefinger underneath. I love all these colours. They are harmonious. I think they are. The shades and the... But that wasn't how I chose it. I chose it just because I liked the look of it and what I had left. So the whole quilt is doing 2.5-inch leftover strips from things or little pieces that I've cut. And Judith gave me this piece from a project she's doing at the moment. It's the only new piece of fabric that I had. You can see I don't use a thimble. I've got these little quilter's fingers. Quilters probably use thimbles, but not this one. And I've probably said this before, but my fingers are quilter's fingers. So you can see they are pretty flat to here, which is really handy because once when I was younger, I jammed my fingers in the car door when I was a teenager, about 12 or 13. I jammed them in the top of the door where it goes onto the hood, and you know, it did hurt. It hurt a lot, but only for a couple of seconds, and nothing was broken or anything because my fingers are so flat. They're like a sheet of paper. They just, I don't know, it just went with the door. And yeah, so that's about my fingers. I've got flat fingers, so when I put a thimble on, which are round, they just slip off. And the only way to keep a thimble on, you know, the metal ones, is to sticky tape it onto my finger. That's not very comfortable. And I can tell you that you're smiling there at the thought of a sticky tape thimble on someone's finger. But yeah. So I'm just coming up to the armhole here, and you can see it's very close to the flannel that I've got for batting. And when I sew the binding on, it'll probably catch a little piece of this fabric here. I think sewing on a table like this is really good, you know, for when the weather's warmer, because it's not on my lap or on the cushion that the stool that I usually have in front, or the chair or whatever. The table has more surface area to rest the project on. And what I love about hand quilting is I can just hold it here like this. I can just go at my own speed, and I can just watch the needle going in and out. I love the sound of the thread pulling through the layers of fabric. Do you hear that? It is so beautiful and smooth. And that's the meditative process, friends. It's just, you get lost in a world of slow stitching and beautiful colours. Nearly at the end of this seam. When I get to the end of it, I don't want the the little the ends to pull apart. You know what I mean? The end of the seam to come apart. So when I get to 1/4 of an inch to the seam, I'm just going to, because I know I will sew over this, just take a couple of stitches to hold that firmly in place. And then I can cut the thread. Won't cut it too short, because when I'm sewing the binding on, I'll make sure that the thread is facing towards the part that'll be covered. So that's the first part. I'll show you the back. So you can see my stitches up here. Because I want it to be reversible, so I'm making a reversible vest. I love the butterflies. It'll be like wearing a whole meadow of butterflies, won't it? When I have it inside out. Well, that's the quilting for today, for this part of the episode, but next episode is going to be just on making this quilt. So you'll probably see this little part again, but we'll see the whole process of finishing off this vest. I hope you enjoy it. I've trimmed all around the edge now, and I've sewn up this piece here only on the front. And then I'm going to put the binding on this side so that it's flat. This is the inside, and you won't be able to see the seam. The next part is to put the collar on, and that's the tricky part, and it goes around. John's going to help me. Going to sew across the neck
and the shoulders.
And the shoulders. And that just leaves the armholes, and then I will bind it. But I'm going to do this part different to the neck, different to this part of the collar. I'm just going to sew it together because it's going to be too tricky, and then I'll trim it really, the flannel back, and it should be flat. So that's the next step, and this is the most tricky part, doing the attaching the collar to the neck. So I'll do that now. This is a previous vest that I made, and it's easier to see because it's on the white side. So that's the seam that I've just done.
Yeah.
And there is that tricky bit there, which goes across and across the neck and down again.
On the shoulders.
On the shoulders. So it's good to have something to look at too, for me, being a visual learner type person. I hope I can get it. So here's my new vest. I've just done the collar construction. It is shorter than my last one, but it fits really nicely and I like it. Show you the back. Hope it looks okay on the back. So this is the patchwork side, and this is the butterfly side. So I'll turn it inside out and we'll have a look at the other side, which I haven't finished yet. I have to, you know, bind the seams and everything, but I quite like it. What do you think? And this is the butterfly side. I'm thinking I would like the collar a bit shorter, but I'm not sure how to do it, so I'll probably leave it as it is. But I hope all the butterflies look nice. And yeah, which side do you prefer out? I like them both. I'm up to sewing the binding on, and I've chosen this beautiful brown. I have made a number of quilts using this beautiful colour, and this is the binding I made of what was left. And now I'm going right round the edge of the quilted jacket vest with this colour, and I'm hoping there'll be enough for the armholes. We'll see how we go. I've got the machine set at, see, I sewed around to 1/4 inch, and now I'm sewing the binding on at the next setting over, so it's a bit more than 1/4 inch. It's not 3/4 inch, it's not 3/8, it's just a bit more. What would be a 1/4 and 1/4?
16th.
That wouldn't be a 16th. John says 16th. Let me know what you think. 1/4 and 1/4 inch. I think it might be, it should be 1/2 inch, shouldn't it? But I don't think it is. In reality. So you see, this is the width, and it's not 1/2 inch, but it is not 1/4 inch either. So you probably know what I mean if you've got a sewing machine like mine and there's only 2 settings on it. 1/4 inch and a bit more. So I'll just keep going, and then I'll turn it over and sew it on the other side. I finished sewing the binding to the right side on the sewing machine, and now I'm hand whip stitching the binding to the back. But I want it to be reversible, so I'm being very neat. That's why I didn't machine stitch the binding down on this side. Plus, I didn't have threads that would match every colour green. So I'm sewing this down with black Gutermann's thread, and you can see I'm taking very small stitches into the binding. I'm going to go right round the edge. I've nearly finished going around the edge, and that will be about 80 meters. Can you believe it? 80 meters of sewing thread to go around the edge. And then I'm going to do the armholes, and I've also done the same with the armholes, so I'll hand stitch that down too. I have a few views of my finished quilted vest. Stand back and let you have a look at this side. So this is the patchwork side, and as you can see, the collar is like that. We fold it over. Squeaky floorboards. So it would fold over like this, and we'll put a clasp or a pin there. I'm thinking that I can make the collar smaller, and so you could see more of front. I quite like it. I quite like it like this because it's more like a shawl. Well, it is a shawl collar. But yeah, that's how it looks. It's a nice fit over a dress. You can see I've put the binding on, and same as the all round. Love the butterflies. So now I'm going to reverse it, and we'll see how it looks. And now I've reversed it, and the patchwork side is the collar. I like it like this more. I think it's really nice, especially on a dress or a skirt really. I think it probably look really good on a skirt or pants. So you can see how it I think it's lovely. I love the butterflies. And I think it looks really cute. So this is my finished vest. I love it. I love it more like this. Which side do you prefer? I like both, really. I'm biased. So yeah, inside. And it's all hand quilted, big stitch quilting with pearl cotton. I think it looks really nice. I have a couple of things to say about the vest when I was making it. So it's pretty straightforward, the pattern. As you will see, it's just one piece, and then you can embellish, patchwork, anything really. And so it's a really exciting pattern, but there is a tricky part, and that is connecting the collar to the top of the back of the vest. If you want to make a reversible one, you have to be aware of that. I put binding over mine, and I hope it doesn't distract from the whole thing. I don't think it does. But that's the only tricky part to it. It's basically a small quilt. And yeah, I just like doing the binding on it. Different from me. I usually put the binding on last, but first I mean. But this time I put the binding on for last because I wanted to make sure that the curved surface and everything went okay. So yeah, that's the only thing I've got to say about it. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, and it looks great, and it's very warm and comfy. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and keep well and have fun crafting and quilting. See you soon, friends. Bye. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name's Barbara Radzevicius and I'm Bondi Quilter. This is a special episode on how to make a Kyoto vest from Tessuti patterns and quilt it. So like wearing a quilt. I hope you join me for this episode. It's fun and hopefully it will help you to decide to make a quilted vest. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and that would be great. So nice to see you all here, and really appreciate my subscribers, my new subscribers, and my old friends coming to visit. So nice to see you, and I hope you all enjoy my foray into quilted vests.